Why INFJs ghost without realizing it. Have you ever found yourself suddenly withdrawing from someone, disappearing from conversations, avoiding social interactions, or feeling an overwhelming urge to retreat, without even realizing it? If you're an INFJ, this behavior might feel instinctual, but those around you may be left confused or even hurt. INFJs are known for their depth, emotional intensity, and strong sense of loyalty, so why do they often disappear, sometimes even unintentionally? In this deep dive, we'll explore the main reasons INFJs ghost without realizing it, unraveling the psychological, emotional, and subconscious patterns behind this enigmatic behavior. Stick with me until the end to uncover how to navigate this trait in a way that protects your energy without damaging your relationships. 1. INFJs experience social burnout without warning. INFJs absorb emotions like a sponge, deeply attuned to the needs and feelings of others. While this makes them excellent listeners and compassionate friends, it also drains them, often without them noticing. One moment, they're engaging fully, and the next, they feel an urgent need to retreat into solitude. This sudden shift isn't intentional ghosting, it's an involuntary self-preservation mechanism. An INFJ may be regularly texting a friend, offering emotional support, and deeply engaged, until, suddenly, their energy depletes. They stop responding, not because they don't care, but because their emotional reserves are empty. To avoid accidental ghosting, INFJs can set boundaries early in relationships, letting others know they need periods of withdrawal. Using scheduled off days or low-energy responses, like sending a simple "I'll catch up soon" text, can help maintain connections without overwhelming themselves. 2. They feel emotionally overwhelmed and shut down. INFJs process emotions deeply, sometimes to the point of emotional exhaustion. When they experience an overwhelming wave of emotions, whether from personal issues or absorbing the struggles of others, their first instinct is to withdraw. Without realizing it, they disappear to deal with their emotions internally, leaving others wondering what went wrong. An INFJ who has had a tough week at work may suddenly stop responding to messages or decline invitations, not because they dislike the person but because they lack the emotional bandwidth to engage. Instead of vanishing, INFJs can develop simple ways to communicate their need for space. A short message like, "I'm feeling overwhelmed and need some quiet time, but I'll reach out soon," can help prevent misunderstandings. 3. They struggle with conflict and avoid confrontation. INFJs despise conflict. If a situation feels tense or emotionally charged, their first instinct is to retreat rather than confront the issue directly. This avoidance can lead to unintentional ghosting, especially if they fear disappointing or hurting someone. If an INFJ senses that a friendship is becoming strained, they may withdraw instead of addressing the discomfort head-on, assuming it will resolve itself or that the other person doesn't really need them. Practicing healthy conflict resolution strategies, like writing out feelings before a conversation or using I statements, can help INFJs navigate tough interactions without disappearing. 4. They have an all-or-nothing approach to relationships. INFJs crave deep, meaningful connections. If a relationship feels shallow, forced, or one-sided, they may naturally distance themselves, sometimes without consciously realizing they're doing it. If an INFJ senses that a friend is only reaching out when they need something, they might begin replying less and less until the connection fades entirely. INFJs can practice recognizing early signs of emotional disengagement and addressing concerns before they unintentionally ghost someone. Open communication about expectations can help maintain balance. 5. They absorb negative energy and need to detox. INFJs are highly empathetic, often taking on the emotional burdens of others. If they sense too much negativity, whether it's from a toxic friend, a stressful workplace, or even the news, they unconsciously withdraw to reset their emotional state. After a deep conversation with a friend who constantly vents negativity, an INFJ may suddenly stop responding to messages, needing time to recover from the emotional toll. INFJs can protect their energy by setting emotional boundaries, using grounding techniques, or limiting time spent with energy-draining individuals. 6. They prioritize internal processing over external engagement. INFJs need time alone to process thoughts, emotions, and experiences. If they don't get this internal reflection time, they may unintentionally ghost as they retreat into their minds. An INFJ might go silent for days after a major event, simply because they're mentally sorting through their thoughts and feelings. Scheduling regular mental reset days and communicating this need with loved ones can help maintain relationships. 7. They fear being misunderstood. INFJs often feel like outsiders, struggling to explain their deep, abstract thoughts. If they sense that someone doesn't truly get them, they may withdraw rather than try to bridge the gap. If an INFJ shares something deeply personal and receives a shallow or dismissive response, they may pull away, assuming the connection isn't worth pursuing. Finding like-minded individuals who resonate with their depth can help INFJs feel more comfortable expressing themselves without withdrawing. 8. They avoid feeling trapped in surface-level relationships. INFJs crave depth, and if a relationship feels superficial, they may unconsciously ghost to seek more fulfilling connections. An INFJ may slowly disengage from a social group that only engages in small talk and lacks deeper emotional connection. Being intentional about where they invest their energy and seeking quality over quantity in relationships can help INFJs feel more engaged. 9. They have an innate fear of burdening others. INFJs hesitate to share their struggles, fearing they'll burden people. If they're going through a tough time, they may ghost rather than risk overwhelming someone. Instead of venting about their struggles, an INFJ may withdraw completely, feeling like they should handle it alone. Recognizing that true friendships involve mutual support and allowing themselves to lean on others can help INFJs maintain closeness. 10. They struggle with perceived inauthenticity. If an INFJ senses someone being fake or manipulative, they may instinctively ghost to avoid being drawn into disingenuous interactions. If an INFJ notices a coworker is only nice when they need something, they may suddenly disengage, protecting their authenticity. Trusting their intuition while also allowing space for open conversations before disappearing can create healthier boundaries. 11. They struggle to express their own needs. INFJs are natural givers. They focus so much on others that they often neglect their own needs. When they reach a breaking point, instead of asking for help or setting boundaries, they withdraw completely, often ghosting without realizing it. An INFJ might be the go-to friend for advice and emotional support. They listen, validate, and uplift others, but when they feel emotionally depleted, they don't know how to ask for space without feeling guilty. Instead, they disappear, hoping no one will notice. INFJs can practice self-advocacy by starting small, saying, "I need some quiet time today, but I'll check in later," rather than disappearing altogether. Learning to voice their needs before burnout strikes helps maintain balance in relationships. 12. They disappear when they feel unappreciated. INFJs don't seek attention, but they do crave genuine appreciation for their efforts. When they feel undervalued or taken for granted, they often retreat, not as an act of revenge but as a subconscious form of self-protection. If an INFJ is always the one initiating conversations, making plans, or offering emotional support but receives little in return, they might slowly stop engaging. They won't announce their departure, they'll simply fade away, believing the other person won't notice their absence. INFJs can practice openly communicating their feelings instead of assuming others understand. A simple statement like, "I feel like I'm always the one reaching out, do you still want to maintain this friendship?" can provide clarity. 13. They have a low tolerance for inauthenticity. INFJs are highly intuitive and can sense when someone is being fake, manipulative, or dishonest. Instead of calling them out, INFJs often remove themselves from the situation entirely. If an INFJ detects insincerity in a friend, such as someone who is only around when they need something, they will instinctively withdraw. They may not even realize they're ghosting, they just stop responding because the connection feels empty. INFJs can trust their instincts but also allow space for communication. Instead of immediately disappearing, they can set firmer boundaries or gradually distance themselves in a more intentional way rather than abruptly cutting ties. 14. They need time to rebuild after emotional pain. When an INFJ experiences betrayal, heartbreak, or deep disappointment, their instinct is to retreat into themselves to process the pain. They don't seek external validation or comfort, they go silent, working through their emotions in solitude. If an INFJ is deeply hurt by a friend's betrayal, they may ghost, not out of pettiness but because they need time to heal and make sense of their emotions. They may even feel guilty for disappearing but still struggle to return. INFJs can practice communicating their emotional state, even if it's brief. Saying, "I'm processing something difficult right now, and I need some time alone, but I value our connection," helps prevent unnecessary misunderstandings. 15. They believe some endings are best left unspoken. INFJs have a deep understanding of unspoken energy shifts in relationships. If they sense that a connection has naturally run its course, they may ghost simply because they see no point in forcing a farewell. To them, some endings don't require an explanation. If an INFJ feels a growing emotional distance between themselves and a friend, they might stop reaching out, assuming the other person feels the same. They won't initiate a formal goodbye, they'll just quietly step away. While not all relationships require closure, INFJs can consider offering a simple acknowledgement, such as, "I feel like we've drifted apart, but I appreciate the time we shared." This avoids unnecessary confusion and allows both parties to move on with clarity. Ghosting isn't always intentional for INFJs, it's often a subconscious reaction to emotional overwhelm, burnout, or discomfort. By understanding the reasons behind this pattern, INFJs can take proactive steps to manage their energy without leaving people feeling abandoned. Learning to communicate needs, set boundaries, and recognize personal limits can help INFJs maintain meaningful relationships without sacrificing their well-being. If you've ever struggled with this INFJ tendency, let me know in the comments. Have you ghosted without realizing it? Let's start a conversation. And if this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more insights into the INFJ mind. Stay safe, and see you in the next one.